Hello, good afternoon, good morning. Once again, I am back. I am Mambi at your service. So, for today, we're going to have our first lesson in quarter 2, which is all about polynomial functions. So, after going through this lesson, you are expected to illustrate polynomial functions, understand, describe, and interpret the graph of polynomial functions, and solve problems involving polynomial functions. So what makes the expressions not a polynomial? In this lesson, you need to revisit the lessons and your knowledge on evaluating and factoring polynomials necessary in graphing linear and quadratic functions. Your knowledge and familiarity of these topics will help you sketch the graph of polynomial functions manually. The use of graphing utilities tools might help you to view a clearer graph that will lead you to understand, describe, and interpret the properties of the graph. So, as I have said earlier, we're going to illustrate the graph of polynomial function, understand, you graph it, describe, you interpret, and lastly, you solve problems involving polynomial functions. So let's have a short review first. Directions: are the following polynomial functions or not? If a polynomial state its degree. So I'll give you 5 questions. So 1, this is a polynomial or not? Yes, it's a polynomial of degree 3. So based on the highest exponent of the variable. Number 2, is this a polynomial or not? Yes, it's a polynomial of degree 5. The third, is this a polynomial or not? It's not, because the square root. The square root, because the power is not an integer. When we express square root of x to a fractional exponent, you will get x raised to the 1/2, and 1/2 is not an integer. Next, this one this one is a polynomial function because its degree is 2. Next, this is not arranged, so arrange natin in standard form. As you can see, the highest exponent is 5. Therefore, this is a polynomial of degree 5. Then, how about this? 2x to the negative 3. This is not a polynomial because it has a negative exponent. And then finally, we have not a polynomial because x is in the denominator. If we will express this into another form, this will become x to the negative 1. And negative 1 is not a polynomial. So, when we say polynomial function, it is a function consisting of the sum or difference of terms in which each term is a real number, a variable, or the product of a real number and variables with non-negative integer, exponents, or powers. Thus, it has no variable inside a radical sign, no variable in the denominator too. And it must also be arranged in a standard form whenever possible. So that's what you remember to for a polynomial function. No negative exponent, no variable inside the radical sign, no variable in the denominator. So I will show you an anatomy of a polynomial function. This is how a polynomial function must be arranged. It must start with the leading term, the one that has the highest exponent, and it should end with a constant term, the one which has no variable. Let's have more examples. So, find the leading term, the constant term, and degree of the polynomial function below. So, we start with the leading term, which is 5x to the 4th because it has the highest exponent. Then the constant term is 1. It has no variable. And then the degree is based on the leading term. We get the exponent, which is 4. So, ito yung pinaka-importante para ma-identify maigi ang isang polynomial function. Another example, arrange the polynomial function in a standard form. So, pag sinabi natin standard form, the exponents must be in descending powers. So, as you can see, it is not in descending powers. So, we arrange this into f of x equal to x cubed plus 3x squared plus x minus 2. So, this time, you try this. Are the following polynomials in a standard form? If not, arrange in a standard form. So, I'll give you 10 seconds for this problem. Begin. Time's up. So, check your own work. The answer are A is yes, B is yes, C is no. So, change it into 4x squared plus x plus 1. D is no. Change it to 5x cubed minus 2x squared plus x. And E is no. Change it to negative x cubed, negative x squared plus x plus 1. Yan. Did you get 5? Very good. Moving on. So, you try this also. So, this time, you give me the leading term, the constant term, and degree of the polynomial functions. So, we have, I'll give you another 10 seconds. Time's up. So, check your own work. Did you get 6? Very good. Now that you are familiar with determining the leading term, the constant term, and degree, as well as the standard form, let's proceed to the graphs of polynomial functions. So, the graph of a polynomial function is a smooth, continuous curve which intersects at the x-axis. So, it shall be smooth, no gaps, no corners, no breaks, continuous, no holes, no rounded terms, and must pass the vertical line test. To understand this, so these are some examples. This one is a linear function. This one is a quadratic function. This is a cubic function, a quartic function, a cubic function, and then a 6th-degree function, and a 7th-degree function. So, the name of the polynomial function depends upon its degree. This is not a graph of polynomial function. Obviously, it has a sharp edge, it has corners, and then it is not smooth. So, to know more about graphs of polynomial function, let us know its properties. What must we remember whenever we graph polynomial functions? Okay, first, the graph of any type of function must pass the vertical line test. So, I will draw a vertical line that will passes through the graph. Yan. You can draw it anywhere. You can draw it here. Or pwede hito. And then, check whether that vertical line you draw has one point of intersection. So, it has. Only one point of intersection. So, sabi nyo, ma'am, there are 3 points of intersection. Because I draw 3 vertical line. Pero kung isa lang, edi 1 point of intersection. I don't need many vertical line to check whether the graph is a polynomial function. One vertical line is enough. I just um, demonstrated to you that you can draw it anywhere. So if there's one point of intersection, then the graph is a polynomial function. So that's one, using the VLT test. Second, every polynomial function with real coefficients has the set of real numbers as its domain. So pag sinabi nating domain, it refers to the set of x values. So dapat daw ang set of x values niya ay belongs to the set of real numbers. So meaning to say, ito lahat, yan yung mga values ng x. So dapat yan na maging x values ng graph of polynomial function. Next, a polynomial equation of the nth degree cannot have more than n roots. So, ibig sabihin nito, if the degree of this function is 3, so ito ay y is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x, there must only be 3 roots. 1, 2, 3. No more, no less. So, dito, ang graph na to ay dumaan sa negative 1, sa 0, at sa 3. So, ang coordinates nito ay negative 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, at 3, 0. And the last one, it shall be smooth and cannot have a sharp turn. So, another important property of a graph of polynomial function is the turning point. The relative maximum or relative minimum are points at which the graph changes from increasing to decreasing or vice versa. So, since it is continuous, and for sure, it should, the graph of the polynomial function should have a turning point. And it is always 1 less than the degree of the function. Thus, it is equal to n minus 1. Like this one, a parabola or a quadratic function has only one turning point. So, from here, it goes upward. So, a cubic function has 2. So, 1, 2. A quartic function has 3. 1, 2, 3. A quintic function has 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a 7th degree function because it has 6 turning points. So, the formula to find the turning point is equal to n minus 1. So, examples, find the number of turning points in the following. Number 1, so the degree is 6, so that's 6 minus 1 equals 5. Number 2, it's 5, so 5 minus 1 equals 4. Number 3 is 1 minus 1 equals 0 dahil wala siyang turning point. The graph of this is a linear function. Straight lang to. Walang liko. Number 4 is 2 minus 1 equals 1. Number 5 is 3 minus 1 equals 2. And number 6, 8 minus 1 equals 7. So that's how easy to get the number of turning points. Now, another important thing to determine the graph is the behavior. To get the behavior, so the behavior of the graph of a function to the far left and far right is called its end behavior. So, di ba ang graph ay merong dalawang dulo. Yung dulo niya to the left and to the right. So, the graph will eventually rise or fall without bound as it moves far to the left or far to the right. Since the graph is continuous, we do not know where it will end. But for sure, it will rise or fall. So, we use double-headed arrow to represent the graph. Look at my example here. This is a cubic function whose end behavior to the left, so look at the direction, left falls. Ito naman sa right, it rises. And it has two turning points. Dalawang liko siya. 1, 2. Diba? 1, 2. Hindi siya dumediretso dito. Lumiko siya. Tumaas siya ulit. So, yan ang magandang characteristics ng graph of polynomial function. Unlike linear function, straight lang siya. And to determine the end behavior of the polynomial function, you need to see the relationship of the leading coefficient and degree of the polynomial function. Kaya ko kayo pinapractice pagkuha ng coefficient at ng degree. Let's have this one. The behaviors of the graph depends upon the leading coefficient. So, yun ay A in symbol, and then degree is n. So, if A is greater than 0, it means to say positive yung value ng A. Tapos, ang degree is even, meaning to say, ang exponent niya ay 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Halimbawa, ang behavior niya ay both rises to the left and right. Kapag naman it's negative, pero even pa rin siya, opposite ito ng number 1. It both falls to the left and right. Parehong pababa. Paano naman pag ang degree ay odd, pero ang A ay positive? Excuse me. So, mangyayari nito, magkaiba ng direction. So, sa left, it falls to the left and rises to the right. Whereas, if A is negative and N is odd, it rises to the left and falls to the right. Ito po ang illustration natin. Ayan. Even positive rises to both directions. Even negative falls to both directions. Add negative rises to the left and falls to the right. Excuse me. And add positive falls to the left and rises to the right. So, para hindi kayo malito, kapag yan, pag ang degree ay even, pag degree is even, the direction are same. But for add, magkaiba ng direction. Okay, this is the illustration. So, examples. Identify the kind of degree. So, dito sa 1, the exponent is 1, so n is 1. Then, the coefficient is 3. So, it's add positive. Yan. Sa number 2, degree is 3, tapos the coefficient is negative 1, so it's add negative. Number 3, degree is 3, then A is 1, so it's add positive. Next, number 4, degree is 5, tapos A is negative 1, so it's add negative. Number 5, degree is 4, then the coefficient is 16, so it's even positive. Then number 6, n is 4, tapos negative 1 siya, so it's even negative. Yan. So, you must be familiar with the relationship of the degree and its leading coefficient. Okay, so try this one. Identify the kind of degree, the sign of the leading coefficient, and the behavior of the graph. So, let's see. So, number 1, n is 4, a is negative 1, so it's even negative. So in short, it falls to both directions. Number 2, n is 2, a is 2, so it's even positive. So it rises to both directions. Number 3, there are 3x, so n is 3, a is negative 1. There is a negative sign here, so it's negative 1. So it's rises to the left, falls to the right. O add negative, so it rises to the left, falls to the right. O, paano natin i-sketch to? So sketch natin sila. Kunin natin yung turning point nitong number 1. So, bali, n minus 1 is 4 minus 1 equals 3. So, tatlong liko ito. Tapos, di ba siya ay even negative? So, falls to both directions. So, magdodrawing tayo ng graph na may tatlong liko at dapat ay falls to both directions. So, ganito yan. Okay. Diba? Falls to the left, to the right, tapos tatlong liko. Try natin na number 2. N is 2, A is 2, so it's even positive. Kunin natin ang turning point. So, 2n minus 1, so 2 minus 1 equals 1. So, isang liko. Isang liko, tapos even positive, rises to both directions. So, drawing tayo ng rises to both directions. Isang liko lang, so madali lang to. Ganyan lang yan. And last example, n is 3, a is negative 1, so add positive. So, ang turning point niya ay ayaw mandar. Ayun. N minus 1, so that's 3 minus 1 equals 2. So, dalawang liko, add positive. So, that will be falls to the left, rises to the right. Falls to the left, rises to the right, dalawang liko. So, meron tayong ganito. Ganyan. O, diba? Madali lang. So, finally, let's have an example of how to apply polynomial function to real life. So, this problem solving time. So, the length of a rectangular box is 5 meters less than 5 times the width. The area of the box is 60 square meters. Find the dimensions of the box. So, kunin natin ang given. So, ang given dito, represent natin itong 5 meters less. So, that will be minus 5. Then, 5 times the width. So, 5 times is 5x. So, yun ay para sa length. So, the length is equal to 5w minus 5. Tapos, ang area niya ay 60 square meters. Ang hinahanap is dimensions of the box. So, anong formula pagkuha ng area? Length times the width. So, let's solve. A is equal to length times the width. Substitute natin. A is 60 equals the length is 5w minus 5. Then, w is the width. So, multiply natin to. We'll get this. Transpose natin, we'll get this. Divide by 5. Tapos factor natin ito. And then solve for w. Equate it to 0. So, kukunin lang natin yung positive value ng w. Hindi ito. Kasi ang hinahanap natin ay dimension. So, it should be positive. And then, substitute natin itong 4 sa 5w dito sa representation and length. So, 5w minus 5, 5 times 4 is 20, minus 5 is 15 meters. Check natin kung tama. The formula is length times the width. So, 15 times 4 is 60 square meters. So, tama siya. Kasi sabi sa problem, the area of the rectangular box is 60 square meters. Therefore, the dimensions of the box are 15 meters by 4 meters. Okay? So, that's it. That's how to solve problems involving polynomial functions. And so, for your written work number 1, you answer this one. So, yung page 2. Madali na to. At nadyan lahat sa aking, naituro ko lahat dyan sa inyo. Hindi na kayo magkakamali. Ngayon, para sa inyong performance task, Ang application ng math sa performance task, kasi harmonize nga to, you are going to draw yan, draw a table that compares the wavelength and the frequency. So, yung relationship ng wavelength at saka sa frequency. So, magbibigay kayo dito ng example. So, magpa-plot kayo ng points, tapos i-graph nyo. So, what happens? For example, as the wavelength increases, what happens to the frequency? O, pwede namang vice versa. Dito nyo ilagay yung frequency, dito nyo ilagay yung wavelength. So, para kayo mag-grade dyan, syempre, yan ay, ang magiging output nyo ay, you make a two-fold brochure. So, once you do the performance task, video nyo yung sarili nyo na may ginagawa kayo na performance task number 1, tapos itatag ninyo ako. Para mag-grade lang kayo, ito nga hanapin ko, neatness and attractiveness, accuracy of plot, and the labeling of x-axis and y-axis. O, mayroon na akong naipakitang labeling. So, dadagdagan nyo lang ng konti. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for listening, my dear students. Sana may natutunan kayo sa aking munting video lesson. So, as always, always keep safe, study hard, and always be a good boy and girl. Bye-bye, everyone. Love you all.